that's critical. Both the good things and the not so good things that are happening. It's all learning for us. So yeah, we want to hear it all. Why don't we go ahead and get started? We're about 6 minutes after the hour, and what I'm going to do, first of all, my name is Rich Brown. I'm a sortition advocate from San Francisco, USA, and one of the facilitators of INSA. I'll be moderating the presentation today, and we're recording this event, as I mentioned before, and we'll be posting it to the INSA YouTube channel within a few days. You can access that channel by going to our website at insa.site, or I've again put the link at the top of the chat to be able to access that if you want to watch the video or presentation again or forward it to someone else. For those people that don't know, INSA is the International Network of Sortition Advocates. It's a volunteer organization aimed at connecting pro-sortition academics, advocates, and activists around the world to share resources and tactics and basically to advance the theoretical understanding of sortition. We established our Discord approximately a little over 4 years ago. And the invitation is, as I mentioned before, has been posted in this chat for those people who might be interested in joining the conversation there. We welcome you. Also, as I said, an invitation to join the email contact list is posted in the chat, or you can go to our website and find it there. Although we don't do a lot of communication via email. So most of our communication is done online. If I could ask everyone now to turn off your mics for the presentation. And I'll go ahead and introduce our speaker today, our presenter today. First of all, the topic today is the German Lottocracy Party translating sortition from theory into political organization. Our presenter, Jochen Kratenmacher, and that was a horrible pronunciation of his name, I apologize, Jochen, is one of the founders of that party. He's a natural scientist, which I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but in our movement, we seem to have lots of scientists being attracted to the sortition movement. He left his field to challenge the political status quo, and after publishing academic work on plant-based dietary transition and co-coordinating several citizens' assemblies and deliberative processes within the EU Horizon Project, Real Deal, he shifted his focus to democratic reform. And as I mentioned before, he's the co-initiator or founder of the German Lottocracy Party, and has been a self-funded political reformer since its founding in 2025. Jochen is going to give his presentation first, which he says is not going to be that long, and then we will have time afterwards to discuss and ask questions. So if you do have questions, please jot them down, and let's bring him up after he has completed his presentation. Welcome, Jochen.
Thanks, Rich. Just a quick question. So we are recording now, right? Yeah.
Benny, can you confirm that? Hold on just a second. Benny?
Yeah.
We are recording, right?
We are recording, yeah, as far as I know, at least.
Otherwise, yeah, it's not so important. All right, cool. Thanks, Rich. Yeah. So let's just jump right in. We have founded the party last year, the Lottocracy Party, the Lottocracy Party, and this is the April update. Yeah. So as Rich said, I'm a co-initiator, and currently I am the head of the Berlin section. Once again, founded in August. Right now we have 90 members Germany-wide, and since January we last posted an update to the international audience, but we have 20 more. So we have actually grown recently a little bit. In between, like December, January, we were kind of stalling, February, but since March we've been growing again. And in Berlin we are 7 members. And maybe one little more fun fact, one quantitative fact is that our party head has 3.3 thousand followers, subscribers on his YouTube account, which is his private account, but there he also posts a lot about the party. Now again, it's just a basic thing. In case anybody, just to bring it on point, yeah, we stand in. We have nothing else basically besides those 2 points in our party program, which is the first one, that we stand in for the recommendations of citizen assemblies. So basically, we give them political power, that they actually become might one day become really effective, other than just like a recommendation which nobody listens to. And the second point is we want more of them. Yeah, the plan is to, of course, ask for citizen assemblies or to get them done, especially where they are needed. Polarized debates, important issues. There we would, of course, if once we have some kind of leverage, we would use it to get those assemblies happening at these points. Of course, like we also are very transparent about the long-term issue, kind of picture, even though it's like not our program really, because again we give all the power to the assemblies, but we have this long-term picture that we also basically make ourselves obsolete. That's the goal, that we no longer are needed in this, otherwise it would not be a proper Lottocracy. And also some side points we also have in our program is, for example, that we promote Lottocracy on all levels. So not just like in Germany, but we also have of course, the ambition that one day there shall be a global Lottocracy. Because, of course, you always hear this point. Sometimes you hear the point, yeah, but what about the USA? What about Russia? What about China? And of course, it's not on our hands. But, yeah, it's true that for a truly peaceful world, you would need a global Lottocracy. And that's also acknowledged that much, certainly. And this is also an ambition. So maybe also one of the reasons why I'm here today, because at least for me, it's very important that in other countries you get some process going. Yeah, maybe we can globally, make this happen faster. And the second thing, which maybe I just thought I would mention, because I don't really hear it so often in the international discourse, is that we do not just promote single issue legislators, but also allotted assemblies, for example, for selecting and controlling executives or Supreme Court members. Currently, these things are done by the parties, right? Which is, of course, also basically a formal violation of the division of power, which we don't really have in these systems, right? For reasons, and we advocate also for these things, not just for legislation, like that this shall be done by a lot of assemblies, but also for the executives, say ministers, let's say, but also mayors, for example. That there would be an allotted assembly. One would be selecting proper candidates, and the other assembly would be checking. Okay, the legislative assemblies said this, you implemented that. Now there's a difference between what you did and what they said. Please explain the difference. Why did you do that? And of course, if the difference cannot be explained properly for the assembly, then the mayor or the minister would be fired, so to speak, and another would be selected by a different assembly. All right. So this I just wanted to mention. Now to our internal organization. We currently are sticking to a democratic, so like in quotation marks, mode of selecting of internal organization. That means we elect our party leaders. That which is basically foreseen by the German party law. So just for that reason, also for practical reasons, and we are only then using Sortition currently as a tool for deliberative sessions, which works for us so far. But we will, of course, see where this takes us. We're still a small body, so of course this might work still. We might have to change tack there when we are getting bigger. All right. So then there will be some other internal organizational issues that just would mention. So you can have a picture of how it's going. For one, we had our first party convention in January, which happened in Magdeburg, where 30 of us met, and we had a great weekend, basically. We also did, of course, some formal work and some formal acts about our party program, where we are going, all these things. Though I guess the most important thing about was the community part, that we really got to know each other. We had like a community experience, which otherwise, of course, you're not really getting with all this only online exchange. Otherwise, yeah, we are only active, basically meeting each other online on Signal, on Discord, and we also have our weekly Zoom sessions. And the next formal meeting actually will be online, because it will be, because we actually have to fix some formal issues with our program and our statutes, so that which the authorities took issues with. Yeah, otherwise, we would, of course, the next physical meeting is planned for next year only. Now we have sections. So in each state in Germany, so basically in each level of government, of course, you can have sections of parties. Currently, we have 4 sections so in 4 states of the German states, of the 16 German states, we have sections. Berlin is one of them, where I'm the head of. And of course, I just want to stress again that we're just now discovering this a bit more, that this is really good to have like a local presence where people can connect with each other, where people can physically meet, and just because if you do everything global, like on a national level, of course, some people will not even join us. They want to see that we have a local presence. Otherwise, they will not be interested. Actually, they will just say, "Yeah, like tell me once something is established," which is, I think, also an important issue to consider if you're considering a party in your country. You should basically, start getting some structures. It has to grow a little bit organically. You have to find the people who are willing to start, even if there is no neighbor they can talk to. And these people, of course, you can't find that easily, unfortunately. Now, this is, I think, already the final slide, which I have, which is, I just wanted to really make some important points which are important for us as a party. One of them is that we are not on the left-right spectrum. I guess Sortitionists will understand that, which is, of course, in practice a bit tricky sometimes, because you have to. It's of course difficult, because you want to criticize all the parties, but then you're, of course, like on each occasion you run in danger of being seen as being a lefty or a right-wing person. And of course, if you're on social media, you can't always target it really just to that audience. So that is an issue, of course, which is always going to be a struggle, which is why we are so clear from the beginning that this is our point of view, where we see ourselves, and how we want to, as best as can be, stay in the public perception, that we're not neither left or right. We aim to be populist, which some people associate. I mean, of course, there's left-wing populism, there's right-wing populism. We would say we are then democratic populists, just because otherwise it's very difficult to get traction, to get on social media, to get attention. So there's like a balance to be stricken. I don't know, between of course explaining our goal, whatever explaining the Lottocracy, all the reasons behind it, all the different ground assumptions which go into it, about human nature. It's a lot to explain, a lot to talk about, and this is still like a bottleneck. This is the third point, that there's a huge bottleneck, which is to enable people to understand Lottocracy, like by explainer videos, by articles, all these things. There's so much to be talked about, and of course, this is something where, especially in video, it can be effective, but it's kind of tricky to generate the content, which is really, so of course you want to cater to every group, and so this is still a challenge we're struggling with. So yeah, so of course you get so we're trying to balance between populism and really getting the information, the actual information to our say customers, yeah, in this system. Yeah, I think that's already. Yeah, there's one more slide exactly that we have an upcoming election now in Berlin, which is going to be in September, and so this is where I'm involved in right now. So I'm on the streets right now collecting signatures again. We need 2,200 signatures till the middle of July, which is going to be a challenge. It might not sound that much, but you need at least 15 minutes per signature, because yeah, you got to explain a lot. Because yeah, as you know, this I guess everybody here will be familiar with the struggles, the challenge to explain sortition or Lottocracy especially. And so you have to calculate with a lot of time per signature. So I want to leave it there. Thank you for the attention until here, so that we can just have a conversation, or you can make any questions.
Thanks, Jochen. If people have questions, why don't you go ahead and raise your hand? I'm going to start it off if I could, and then I'll start selecting people for questions being asked. But I'm curious at why you chose to create a party. Was there any effort to try to influence the current parties, or did you feel like that was just too overwhelming to do, that creating your own party seemed to be the best way to go?
I guess you could, in a nutshell, describe it like that. Although I would say that we consciously, of course, said we need like a kind of a clean slate. Because let's say we go into the Green Party, we convince the Green Party, oh please, stand in for citizen assemblies. Then the citizen assembly issue will be seen as a Green Party issue. Yeah, and you will immediately lose like more than half of the people. And even let's say the Green Party, they even had citizen assembly in their program. I think they still have it to a degree, but then it's also just, of course, like they're just consultative assemblies, of course. Yeah, it's not like they want to have a Lottocracy, and of course it would be a huge step, like also for like a whole party to accept that maybe parties are bad. So the whole socialization is, of course, like identity is based on being a party, and so we just decided that makes way more sense to just start our own party, and we don't have all these issues, and we actually have people who authentically are sortitionists, right? I mean, if you start with a party, you will have to convince basically, people who've always believed in this system of something completely new, and how can you even like be sure that they would do what they say? I mean, this is like another issue.
Right.
I would just be very uncomfortable with this. It could be done perhaps, but we just thought, at least in Germany, it's not that hard to get a new party on a footing. I mean, of course, it's still very, very difficult, but I imagine it's of course much more difficult in the US. So
Yeah.
you of course have to think about these things too. Yeah.
Thanks. Benny.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think somebody has to try something, and I think this is a great attempt. I can see some problems. This selection process that election is about selecting the Teflon coated person that is good on TV and social media and so on. But I honestly also think that it's very good advertising or information about the sortition. And so I think overall it's a very great step. But I can also see that I don't know so much about German democracy, but I can also see that you probably don't fit in so nicely in the system, as you told yourself, with party laws and so on. And I can also tell you, just for businesses, it's difficult because it says election for everything. So and you break the law basically if you do it by sortition. I can also see the problem with citizens' assemblies, that basically they simply don't have any power right now, at least in Denmark. I guess it's more or less the same in Germany. So how will you get them to have more power, that they really can decide something? Because it's not just about getting more citizens assemblies. You also have to implement the things that they suggest. It's just curiosity from my side. Thank you.
I mean, yeah, thanks, Benny. I mean, yeah, that's the whole point that we founded this party, to give assemblies more power. I mean, one of the points. So that only with our seats in the parliament, you can, as a person who gets invited to a citizen assembly, be sure that somebody will stand in for your recommendations, whatever you work out, whatever it is. Yeah. So this is what we are here for. Of course, we need voters for that to vote for us, but that's just something which we have to do. There's no other way. As to the legality, so this is of course totally 100% legal. Yeah, like already today, it's like 100% law that you can do that. People vote for us, and we do what we want to do. Yeah, as a body, we can do that. Of course, if we want to have not just consultative but like binding assemblies, which are not reliant on us, which we want, of course, in the end, then we need like constitutional reforms. And for this, of course, we will have an assembly which will give recommendations on that. So I don't want to like we're not saying, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna transform the system. We're just saying, yeah, this is something which the assemblies have to work out. But I can say about the legality that the Constitution of Germany has some articles where it is like which allow it to be reformed. Some of them are more, let's say, how do you say, not polarized, a bit more contested than others. But there are ways, of course, and it's always like, when you talk about the law, how you interpret it or how you see it. There will always be people who say like, no, you can't do this. It's like some people get very allergic. But these are really minority. Most people are not really so concerned about this. And I think rightfully so, because there are, I think, in my opinion, ample options to reform.
All right, thanks. We'll go Wayne, Dave, and then Ian. Go ahead, Wayne. Can't hear you, Wayne.
That's because I did what you told me and I muted myself. Jochen, thank you for coming, and I really applaud your efforts. I have a few questions because I want to understand better. I had thought there was some effort to have a political party in Australia. Maybe you're aware of that. I don't know how far they have gotten with that. So I have just a couple of questions because I know others have. But the 2,200 signatures that you want to get by July, what does that get you? What are they for? What happens when you get those 2,200 signatures?
So we need them to be on the ballot, basically. If you want to be on the ballot for the September election of the Berlin elections. So the Berlin Senate is a local, like, of this state. So the local parliament of Berlin. So you want to be for those elections. You want to be on the ballot, and for this we need supporters to sign for us, to sign that they support us, that we will be on the ballot.
So when a voter goes to the voting booth, sees that you're on the ballot, you have people stepping up as candidates, as actual candidates? How does that work?
So for this election now, we will not have. I mean, we have like a number 10 people on the 10 names on our list. But if you vote, if you step into the ballot booth, you will just see like Lottocracy Partei, and then you will see CDU, SPD, blah blah, and then you will see Lottocracy Partei, and then you can give us a vote or not, or another party. So yeah, that's how it goes. There's also an election. So Germany has like a purely proportional. I mean, it's almost completely proportional. There's like a little bit of some mechanics, but it's mostly a proportional system. So as many votes as you have, that many seats you will get. There is some element of where you, but I'm not going to get into this. This is just the most relevant factor for us right now. We don't need faces at this moment, so we don't have like a name there. But there are elections like this, but yeah, I'm not going to get into this. This is a bit too complicated.
So just to clarify, Jochen, they would go into they would get a ballot with the party name and vote for the party, correct?
Yes, so you can, exactly, you have to really vote for the parties in this
Okay.
election, and these are the most important votes. So there's also other votes, but this is the most important one.
Okay.
And there we're just going to be a party. Does this answer the question, Wayne? I'm not sure.
Yes, it does. Now I'm clear.
Dave, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so a lot of my questions got answered while I was waiting, but I was, I've often thought that that maybe the United States would be better off having a Lottocracy party as well, because it's so difficult to change the U.S. Constitution as an outsider, and so I've often thought that we need a political party also, and I support everything that you're doing here. I hope that you are successful. So I was kind of wondering, is there a nonprofit Sortition or Lottocracy organization in Germany that is like separate from the political side? Because in the United States, if you're a nonprofit, you can't have, you can't be a politically affiliated organization. So I was just kind of wondering how that works in Germany.
So thanks, Dave. So there is already like a kind of, there are several NGOs which do kind of like so also do democracy work. There's Mehr Demokratie e.V., which has 10,000 members. And for example, they had these webinars on citizen assemblies where I really also got in touch with my co-initiator. So this is already what is in place. But there is one NGO, I'm not sure whether, Bianca, there is one NGO which you're part of. I'm not sure how you see yourself, but this exists also. If you want to say something, I don't know.
I think there are some NGOs. Well, we are not very big. We have only 6 people, and 2 of them are from Austria. So, but there are Lospfade, for example, and those who make meetings between some elected members of parliament and allotted citizens. Then there is, I think, a lot of NGOs who have Sortition as part of their program, but I don't think we have a big organization focusing only on Sortition. Mehr Demokratie is probably the biggest, but they have other parts of democracy also in the program. So
exactly, yeah. So there is not really any big organization with that like that, and especially there is no big organization which promotes the idea of Lottocracy really.
If I could add just a plug here for INSA, there's a map on our website that has a list of all of the organizations in Germany and around the world that are connected to Sortition in some way or the other. So check out that list, Dave, and you might be able to find some specifics there. Ian, do you have a question?
Yeah, I think this is a great idea, and I'm really excited to see where this goes for you guys. As a couple people have mentioned, in the United States, I think it's probably impossible or at least futile to have a independent party. So I'm thinking there's a possibility to have some sort of like trans party caucus that could do this kind of work. But my question is, what's your social media handles? Because I want to check you out and help cross-post your things, because I run Sortition USA's outreach and social media stuff.
Okay. I can let you know. Maybe do you have LinkedIn or something?
Do you happen to be on the Insta Discord?
Oh yeah. Maybe we get in touch there.
Okay, cool. What's your handle? Or I'll find. You can find me on Discord. Or I can
That's
find
my
you.
name. Yeah, we find each other.
Okay.
I can help facilitate that too.
Okay.
If you want to send it to me, I can post it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's actually a good point because I'm always wondering, like, depending on how the social media platform works, because if you share German stuff and the English audience sees that and they think, yeah, okay, I don't understand this. What is this? They take it away. Would this like maybe result? Could this potentially result in less German engagement from our side? I think this is a question we also have to consider because
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll coordinate and try to figure out if there's some mutually beneficial way to promote each other.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, social media again. We really gotta get better. I can show you maybe like one thing, just as a little maybe. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just creating TikTok shorts. That's one thing I'm also getting into, and there you can actually reach a lot of people, and you can just make very short like things where you say things, maybe even like you rant about something. You can do that. I wanted to just show you. So this is basically, something I took on the bike, just riding on the bike.
Der Fall ist, dass reiche Menschen entscheiden, dass arme Menschen hungern sollen.
Does that look familiar, Ian?
No, I mean I don't think I've seen your videos before.
No,
but
I meant from what you were doing. Ian's doing this in the United States. And
okay, that's great.
So,
yeah, I'm mostly doing shorts as well. But my brother-in-law is a German national, and I know he would be interested in joining your party and looking at your videos.
It'd be amazing. Cool.
I'm not seeing the video on the screen. I'm looking at the last slide.
It's not.
No. I mean, I was trying to. I can just show it here. Am I?
Yep, you're still up.
Yeah. Okay. So this is basically the video. I'm just basically on the bike, I'm just saying things, and this has just 40 likes in a day. It's not so much, but it's the most I got on TikTok so far, and I haven't really done much yet, And I think this can actually still blow up a bit more. I'm pretty sure it will. So there's like a lot of things you can do. You just have to, kind of find the spot where you can do it.
Right.
The sweet spot.
Well, very good. I have to drop off, but I look forward to getting linked up on Discord, and then we can maybe learn from each other or help try to promote each other. Thanks so much for the work you're doing.
Thanks, you.
Benny, do you have a question?
Yeah, it's I don't know if you really touch it, but if you get in, when you get in, you get into a system that function completely different. And if you have a bill, what are your internal ways of handling this? Will you make a citizen assembly about each bill, or how will you handle it?
Yeah. So basically, first of all, if there is no recommendations already concerning the bill, we would simply be neutral. We would not say yes, no. You can do that, right? You can just say no, we don't vote in the other direction. And or we would, of course, if our votes are needed, we would just ask for an assembly on this issue. But otherwise, if there is assembly, if there is no recommendations, we will not vote either pro or contra. And otherwise, of course, there's going to be like a little. There's going to be, of course, issues where maybe there's conflicting recommendations, or there might not be very clear how exactly to translate this into the actual issue. For this, again, like our internal party organization right now is still like we have elected leaders, so they would decide in the end. But it's actually a good issue. We might. I mean, of course, we will only set up such structures once we are in the parliament, in some parliament, because otherwise it's going to be a waste of time. But this is a good. First, would be nice to think of something there.
Yeah, because you will potentially, a lot of people will not vote for you if you are neutral on all cases. I think you need to make some sort of system so that people don't find that they are wasting their vote.
Yeah, I mean, but this is something we just categorically exclude as any possibility. We are neutral on the points where there are no recommendations. So that is very important to our promise of not being like the other parties. Yeah, to not imagine we ourselves as somebody who knows better than anybody else what is the best solution, right? So this is actually a core of our identity that we say, yeah, we just don't know. We're not better than anybody else. Only the people can decide for themselves. And if they are not allowed to do, if they have no possibility yet, then the system has to be reformed.
Okay.
And of course, some voters, that's true. Some voters, they will be like, we hear these concerns sometimes, but you can, of course, communicate first of all why you're doing this way. And secondly, yeah, you will have to pay the price in the end that some people will not vote for you, but that's, I think, totally worth it because we really do like fundamental critical system, this existing system, and it means we have to somehow we have to stay on course, so to speak. Yeah, otherwise we will lose like a much bigger proportion of our potential, voters, because there's a lot of people in Germany who are critical of the system. And these people we want, especially those people we want to vote for us. Yeah, and I think we can get them if we can reach them.
Jochen, can you put your website URL up on the chat?
On chat, yes, I can do that.
Some people have asked for it in the chat, and
I also created like so there's like one information portal which is Lottocracy.info, which is not a party website, but yeah, so it's I created it, which I think is useful also just for information. I think there's already enough English resources in general.
Yeah.
But for in Germany, it's good to have like a separate information portal. So this is what you also have.
I should just note that Bianca made a comment in the chat, since you have to get at least 5% of the votes to get seats in parliament, voters of small parties normally face the fact that their vote is probably
yeah, that is like the main concern for many people. I mean, it's maybe not the main concern, but like it's a big concern. I guess this is any kind of electoral system, I guess, would be the case. But yeah, in Germany, especially with the 5% hurdle. Which is why actually I read recently this article why people, I mean, on equality by lot, I can't remember who it wrote, who the author was, but he wrote that like it's difficult to resist this belief that like elections are democratic because everybody around you believes it, and you always get like everybody reflects to you that elections are democratic. So it's just very good to have an epistemic community, as in Zeiss too, where you can actually ascertain yourself that you're not insane, right? So that you have a community where you can really be the statisticians you are, without being questioned all the time,
right,
without having this thing. So this is basically, I think it's really a long game which we're playing. I don't think in September we will jump over 5%. Could happen, who knows? If we are very lucky. And so, I mean, we're really getting a little bit of at least bigger accounts on social media already. Like, so there was like recently an account of 60,000 followers who discussed us. So one can imagine like if there's like more bigger accounts talking about us, which could be going quickly. Who knows? Right. But I think in the end we will probably be more like in 4 years, perhaps or 5 years, over the 5% hurdle. We have to be realistic. But it's worth it to build this community, I would say.
Bianca, do you want to go and make a comment or a question?
More like a comment. I mean, it's also if you are on the ballot, you have the possibility to make a campaign, and so you are able to put posters on in the streets and so on. So even if you don't get some seats, it's a chance to bring sortition in the public,
Exactly.
which you don't have without this.
Exactly. And you really have like a pretext to actually just talk about the issue and to talk about it really aggressively and convincingly. If you're like, if you're just, I don't know, a tame NGO, you can't do that. Yeah. We can really be super aggressive. We can be convincing because we have like a party about this. We do nothing else. Like, I mean, it's just like performatively, we do what we talk about, which I think has some convincing power on its own, and it's quite important.
So I'm curious that when you are out trying to collect signatures and you're spending 15 minutes with each person, what kind of feedback are you getting from the people that you have these discussions with about sortition, about your party? What are their ideas and concerns?
Yeah. And actually, this is maybe after the session, you will be convinced to make a party in the US, even if you have no chance of winning. But so the point is also that we actually can reach people from across the spectrum. Like there's not really something like other people who vote for the AfD, they will not understand, or people from the Green Party will not understand. So from every party, basically, you have some people who understand, who have the potential to understand the issue. It will mostly take some time. There will always be some concerns which you have to address, and sometimes you cannot address all the concerns. Sometimes people will just get stuck at one point and they will not be able to understand what you're telling them. Maybe because it's sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, because maybe it's because of who you are, like, and of course also who you're talking to, but also who you are, and maybe there's some how do you say, there's a connection problem, yeah. But also some people, it just seems like they have very strong beliefs. For example, like there are people. Just recently, I talked to somebody who basically thought that the German constitution is like very important. It's like basically there's this very naive view among some Germans that just because it says in the constitution that the Mensch. So how's it called in English actually? So basically, it's the human. I have to check it out. Sorry.
Take your time.
Yeah, human dignity, right? Human dignity. You cannot touch it. In Germany, and just because it's basically on the constitution, this means that this is the case. Yeah, this is of course a very naive view. I mean, I guess we can all understand that, but some people like this exist in Germany. Mostly, like I would say, like liberals, like on the left side, and like such people, they have also some issues. If they just floats the possibility of, hey, we change the constitution. Because then the constitution is something almost like a holy book. Yeah, if you just thought the possibility that this might be changed, it's not maybe might not even be the best constitution we ever had, or which we could have. Then you get into difficult waters.
Yeah,
such people exist, and there's from the left side, sometimes from left-wing people. These people get stuck on the point that the capital. It's all about capital, and politics doesn't really matter. And on the right, really on the right, actually, it's some you have the most open ear actually, because they are mostly critical of the system. Of course, these are not the ones because there are so many different voters right on the right. Like it's not like a homogeneous block, as we all know. But this is of course the picture which you get. And as a person who doesn't think about these things often, you of course think that everybody who votes for the AfD is a very bad person or something like this. But of course, that's not the case. They're all very different. They all have their different reasons. You just have to be aware of the outgroup bias. And of course, only a minority of the AfD voters would really be like right-wing, like fascist people in the very old sense, like small, tiny minority, who would be like, yeah, some people are more valuable than other people. But this mostly people really have like such strong democratic values, and you can reach them. And actually, there's like a lot of potential for us, I think. Yeah.
But the challenge is their democratic values are based on a Republican kind of, and I say that in a broad sense, in a different view than the Athenian or the Sortition. If I could shift a little bit, you made a comment that when you were starting your party, you had a conference, an in-person conference, basically of 30 or so people, and you made a point that how that was really an important thing to have the in-person element to it, since we're also split up with all the online stuff. Can you talk more about that? Because I think that that's one thing that we're missing as well, that it'd be great for us to be able to all get together and feel the chemistry that happens in that kind of setting.
Just to come very briefly, yeah, I mean, I really meant democratic in a really democratic sense, not in the electoral sense. So these people, like, that's also why some of them are critical of the system, because they don't think this is a proper democracy. Yeah, but I can guess, like, there's differences, of course, between countries, how people will think about these things.
Sure.
And about the community. So, yeah, I'm not really entirely sure what I can say about that. So, sorry.
It's different. It's just a different sense when you can meet face to face, than and be able to maybe even hold on to people that you connect with face to face, where it's harder to hold on to people that you might meet online.
Yeah. I mean, it's just some things. Yeah, of course, it's just much easier to get the connection with people who you haven't met personally before. For me, also with many members of the party, including my co-initiator, Adelan. So that really is valuable. It's also just a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, we went for a few beers afterwards. In the beginning, of course, it was like a little bit of stress, and because you have all these formalities which you have to go through. But then, of course, as we know that you have to have at least like a proper day, like you have to have like enough time so that for informalities. Otherwise, if you just meet for formalities, that's not so valuable. Yeah, and I think so. This is also why we now want to do it once a year. Before we said maybe twice a year, once every 2 years. But now we're more thinking of once a year because it's just helpful. To have that. Otherwise, of course, you would always get you might lose some sense of community, and then it's not really worth it anymore if you think I'm just doing this alone, kind of.
Yep. Thank you. So we're about 5 minutes before the top of the hour. Do anybody have any other questions or comments? Anything else, Jochen, you would want to present before we end? Any other thoughts?
I mean, if there are no more questions, one thing which came up recently a bit more is that people, they really, there are people who you want to get into, like, to be interested in your party, who are already, let's say, people on LinkedIn, for example, who are more privileged, who have the resources to actually do something, to convince their circles and all these things, And for them, actually, it is kind of seems to be important, and I mean, it's not a huge surprise, I suppose, that you have a professional look, or you seem to be knowing what you're doing, just to say it in this way. So it's quite important to. So we're working on this right now. You have to, like, even though we don't really know what's going to happen, of course, in 5 years, 10 years, or like, we don't think so much. We don't think it's so important to have like a really grand plan, like everything in minute detail. But for other people, that's important. Right. And so we would have to work on that also. And these things right now is like something that I am personally, and of course, it's very important to have this, to be organized, to be professional. So we are spending time on this. in addition, so there's also something, of course, which you have to have at some point you have to deal with that. I'm just saying this is something that we're dealing with right now. That's where we are right now, including plus the social media, plus the collect the signatures. Yeah, so yeah, there's some stuff on our plate.
Great. Anyone else? Jochen, we would love to have you come back in a few months and give us a update on how things are going. This is such a difficult process, and you're really in the infancy, in the early stages of it. But the potential, it seems like, is greater, certainly greater in Germany than here. But we would really appreciate having you come back and checking in with us. Anybody else? Do you have any last comments? No? Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You have the website. Let me see if I can put for anyone else that needs to. At the top of the chat, remember all our email addresses, all our website links and so forth. And once again, thanks, Jochen, for being with us today.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks, everybody, for